Hi there! In this video, I'm going to be showing you a demonstration of Parlay's discussion tools. So I'm going to start by going to parleyideas.com and I'm going to browse topics in the Parlay universe. So the Parlay universe is our growing library of ready-made discussion prompts developed by teachers and experts in the field. So I can go through, I could see sustainable development goals, inquiry templates, topics of the future. I can even see collections by subject up here. So I can click early American history and I can see all these discussion topics that are pre-made and ready to go. So let's look at the Louisiana Purchase and Manifest Destiny. So in this roundtable, we start out by looking at the learning goals. So not only the content of what the students are going to be learning, but also the skills that they're going to be practicing in this discussion. Then we provide some content and multimedia. So maybe it's an article or a picture, in this case, a YouTube video, and a picture that students are going to go through on their own. And then when it's time to submit their responses, they're now going to answer these discussion questions. So we usually use Bloom's taxonomy to actually build up and scaffold the questioning. So we'll start by some simpler ones. What is the relationship between Louisiana Purchase and Manifest Destiny? And then we'll get a little bit to the higher order questionings towards the end. And students in their response are going to be responding to these questions. And then at the end of the prompt, we'll give them instructions for peer feedback when they're reading their peers' responses. So if I really like this roundtable topic, then I can actually create it in my own classroom by clicking the pink button. So I'll select which course I'd like it to go into, and it's going to go there right away. So now it's in my course, and before I invite students, I can actually make any edits that I want. I can scrap it and start from the beginning, or I can add any other links, pictures, videos, emojis, and change the formatting to how I wish. I can also turn anonymity on and off. I could change my assessment criteria into however I'd wish. Maybe I want to add my own assessment point. I could do that. And then I'm also going to set the peer guidance questions, so I can flip on whichever sentence stems or questions I'd like the students to work on when they're responding to each other. Once I'm ready to invite students, I can click the Invite Students button. And here, there's a few different ways that you can invite students to your discussion and your course if they haven't already been. You can share this join code, and they could enter this join code at parleyideas.com. Or you can actually copy this link and share it with them. And when they click it, they're going to be brought right into this discussion topic in your class. If they're already in your class, you can actually select them, invite them here. And lastly, you can actually connect it to your Google Classroom so you can post an assignment or an announcement from there. So it's super easy to get started. I'm actually going to show you how to create a new one. So you can open this toolbar here and then press Create New. It'll give you the option of the online or the live. So in this case, I'll create an online. And I actually just want to create ones from scratch. So I can use the template that's kind of provided here, or I could actually just start from scratch completely. And I could add any links, pictures, videos, or even change the formatting to how I wish before I invite my students. Now, I'll also flip over into a discussion that's in full swing. So here's an example of a discussion that has actually already happened. So I've got the prompt here, and then I've got all my students down here, and I can click each one to see their responses, and then click to open it as well. So in this case, we have Michelangelo, who's actually included a video in his response. Now, students in this discussion in particular are going to be interacting as if they are famous people from history. So Michelangelo, I could read a little bit more about him here. In real life, his name is actually Alex. So the teacher can reveal who's who, but because students are anonymous to each other, they will only be able to see the secret identity. So if I wanted to make a comment on Michelangelo's response, then I can leave a comment right here, and I'll use these guidance questions to actually craft my response to him. So in this case, do you agree with this person? what do you like about this post? I believe blank could improve by blank. So I could leave that comment here. And if I scroll down, I can see all the other students who have also responded to him. We can see kind of a conversation developing. And if I'd like to celebrate something someone has said, I could actually provide a confetti and a high five. And as a teacher, if I want to go and assess this student now, I can use it, assess them based on the criteria that I've preset. So in this case, it's going to be out of 4. I'm going to assess them based on evidence, perspective, well-written, and inquiry. And I could also provide private written feedback to that student. To support your private feedback to that student, we actually provide suggested feedback based on some of the information that we have from this discussion. So for Michelangelo or Alex, we could see that none of his comments actually included questions to his classmates. Next time, try asking a question or two to help develop the conversation a little bit more. So I can actually click the plus sign, and that's going to go right into my private written feedback to him. If I don't want to use that, that's totally fine as well, and I could submit that just like that. If I keep scrolling, I can now see how Michelangelo or Alex has compared to the class average with regards to how many comments he's made, but also how many comment applause he's received. And if I keep scrolling, I can now see all of his comments to the rest of his peers in this discussion. So when I'm assessing him, I'm not just looking at his original post, but now I can see all of his contributions to his classmates, which might actually be quite interesting. So that's the assessment tab. Now, in assessing the full class discussion, I can click the summary up here, and students can see this too. And this is going to show me whole class analytics of what this discussion looked like. So we could see average, how many students submitted a response, how many gave at least one comment, how many received at least one comment. We could see average comment length. So this could be really helpful when you're building up the stamina of students and making meaningful contributions to each other. We see a comment cloud here that's going to pull out the main themes and words from this discussion. So we see in this particular discussion, we see government, communities, oil, pipeline, the environment, Canada. Could be a really nice reflection tool. I could actually star model submissions for students to go and review. So this could be really helpful if a student is away, or maybe I want to draw particular attention to the conversation that's developing. That's going to be highlighted in this summary. I can see average comments per student. And then now I can see the comment core diagram. So each student in this is represented by a different color, and the size of that color is representative of how many comments they've made in the discussion and which direction they've been going to. So in a situation like this one, I could see Yuna has made one comment to Jordan, and Jordan has made one comment to Yuna. So ideally, you want to have many different colors going in many different directions, so we could see that it's a very balanced discussion and we're hearing from many different perspectives. So again, really great reflection tool for the students to see on their end as well. So now from the student's perspective, this is what it looks like once they've been invited to an online roundtable. So once they log in, they're going to get this pop-up of instructions. So first, review the prompt. Second, submit your response. Then join the discussion. Okay, got it. So on the left-hand side here, you're going to see the prompt that my teacher has given to me. So I've got my learning goals, I've got my content and multimedia, and then I have my discussion questions and my peer feedback instructions. And on the right-hand side here, I'm going to write my response. So I can now write my response, but I could also include links, pictures, videos, or emojis in my response, which could be really helpful, and then I could format it to however I wish. As I'm writing my response, I can actually reference the point details in the rubric up here in the corner. Also, since this discussion is going to be anonymous, I could see my secret identity. So in this case, I'm Jackie Forster, an English news reporter. And once I'm ready, I can actually go ahead and submit. So now it says, welcome to the discussion, review your responses, provide feedback, and then build on ideas. So in a live discussion, students are going to be sitting physically in a circle, similar to how they would in a Socratic seminar. So students are going to be verbally speaking out loud with a piece of technology beside them on their desk. And when they have something to say, they're actually going to tap in with a new idea, a challenge, a build on, or a question. And once they do that, their icon is going to appear in the middle of the circle. So when their icon is appearing in the middle, now everybody else can see that they have something to say. And if there's a natural break in conversation, they could actually just start speaking whenever they'd like. If no one's speaking, or if some people are in the middle but they're not speaking, or it's taking a while for them to say their point, we could actually vote for different students that we'd like to hear from. And we could also provide them with confetti, because that's super fun. So now this is what the live roundtable looks like from the student perspective. So right now, my name's Yuna, and I'd like to challenge somebody. So I've tapped out, and I could tap back in. My icon's in the middle. And I could actually begin speaking when that natural break in conversation is happening. This is going to be really helpful for your students who might be a little bit shy or might not be confident with speaking out loud. As when they tap in, now the rest of the class can see that they'd like to speak. And perhaps if I'm Yuna and I see that Afia's here and not really speaking out loud, I could actually ask her and invite her in and say, hey Afia, what was your idea? What would you like to kind of contribute? And build that collective awareness of each other's ideas in this discussion. So I could also vote for different students that I'd like to hear from and also provide the confetti. And I can make my own student notes here. So even if I'm not speaking out loud, my teacher can still see the nature of my ideas. And I could also vote for the different polls. So back to the teacher view, if I click over each student, I can actually see their own student notes, and I can assess them based on the criteria that I choose. I can see different tap-in details, so how many times a student has tapped in. And I can make my own private notes that Yuna is not going to see. And then I can also provide private feedback, which is going to be what Yuna can see. Also, Parlay is going to suggest to me as a teacher some suggested feedback. So in this case, Yuna, you tapped in over 2 times the class average. Of course, participation is great, but next time try and encourage others to participate by inviting them into the discussion. So I can click the plus sign here, and that's going to go right into my feedback to Yuna, and I can submit that. Lastly, if I see some students who are not participating, I can nudge them. So I could send them, hey, do you have something to say? Or maybe they spoke up and I could say, great job for speaking up. And this could be that one-way communication that goes directly from the teacher to the student. And at the end of the discussion, you can actually see a summary of how the discussion has gone. So in this case, 100% of the students tapped in and participated. And we could see how much time each student has spent in the middle of the circle, tapped in. So in this case, this is not a very equitable discussion. We have some students who have really dominated. So that's a really interesting reflection piece. We could see average tap-ins per student. And then we could also see for the whole class how many new ideas, challenges, build on, and questions. And lastly, we could see a tap-in summary. So this can be helpful for each student to see how many new ideas, how many challenges, and as a class, maybe filter to look at what we should be focusing on in a discussion. And lastly, when it comes to tracking student reports over time, I can click up here and actually go into student reports to see individual students and how they've been doing across the length of the course. So I can click full report, and here I could see the trends, the trending data. So I could see how many comments they've made in that individual roundtable, and then how many points they've received from the teacher. And I can see both online roundtables, and I can see the live roundtable trends as well. And if I'd like to go back and look at Angela's response. And each of the roundtables or discussions that we've done, and I can actually click and look in here and see all of her contributions. So that's the end of the live roundtable and the end of the demonstration of Parlay's activities for discussions. If you have any questions at all as you're going through the process of learning more about Parlay, when you're signed in, you'll always see this little chat bubble here. So you can actually start a new conversation and ask any question you'd like, and we'll be able to assist you as soon as we can. But also, you can also request specific topics for the Parlay universe, and we will actually create topics for you on demand. So you can do that here. And if you'd like to book one-on-one training where we can walk you through how Parlay works or work with a few different teachers, you can actually do that by clicking Book Now. And of course, a whole bunch of different how-to and PD videos. So that's all. Let us know if you have any questions and enjoy your Parlay discussions. Bye.